What's going on, everybody? And this is probably my favorite video I get to make every single year, and it is the first official hype video of the Philadelphia Eagles regular season as we get ready to take on the Washington Redskins in an NFC East battle in Washington to open up the season and open up the rivalry once again within the division. And this is our 10 things that we talk about before every single Philadelphia Eagle game. Pretty damn good. Pretty popular last year. Probably not as exciting as my grades, my post-game grades, because, depending on if we win or lose, that's when, we get a little hype. We may have had a couple drinks, and those are usually the better videos. But this right here is for all of my Philadelphia Eagle fans that are on here. And yeah, I know there's a bunch of Redskin fans that do watch my video. First and foremost, I really do like this rivalry between the Eagles and Redskins. And it's kind of like the Eagles are in a chase right now with the way the Washington Redskins have been able to kind of dominate the series. It seems, I think they've won the last 5 games or something like that. So it's always a game I get excited for, and it's much better when both teams are competitive versus one team kind of sucking, even though I think the Redskins are the worst team in the division on paper. We'll get to that later. But yeah, we're going to go through 10 things, 10 matchups, 10 talking points, keys to winning, everything that you're going to find and want to know before this game. So without further ado, let's jump right into number 10. We're going to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles defense first, and what is Michael Kendrick's role going to be? Is he back to what he was when we paid him that big bunch of money? The kind of linebacker that's super athletic, that you feel confident covering any tight end, any pass catching back in the league, and not the guy that we've had the last year and a half or so, which can't make an open field tackle. Terrible judgment, overruns, his coverages, overruns a tackle, misses everything that a undersized athletic linebacker can't do in the NFL. It seems like Michael Kendricks has been doing it, but with probably maybe the best preseason performance out of any linebacker in the league. Had 3 interceptions, 2 sacks, forced fumble, I believe. Is he going to be able to get on the field? We know last year Jim Schwartz ran in the nickel a lot, so it means we only had Jordan Hicks and Nigel Bradham on the field. But, I think that was more so like, all right, we can't have 3 linebackers. We're getting beat too bad. We have to work around Kendricks. Now, with how well he's played, has he earned himself the opportunity to play again? Has he got himself out of Jim Schwartz's doghouse? Because if so, there is a special player. Sure, they got Jordan Reed, and that's going to be a big effort for all the linebackers. But more so, I associate the Jordan Reed matchup with Jordan Hicks. But the running back that just got that nice little contract extension, Chris Thompson, the receiving back, he's very, very underrated, and I think one of the better receiving backs in the NFC. If Michael Kendricks is playing in that game, that is going to be his matchup. Stop the check down passes, stop the screen passes on 3rd and long. And it seems like every time we play the Redskins, 2 things seem to beat us. And one of the 2 things is Chris Thompson. And, to a lighter extent, maybe a little bit of Fat Rob, but more so it's Chris Thompson catching the ball in the backfield and making big plays because our linebackers just can't fucking cover them. So with the new and improved Michael Kendricks, what it looks to be, that is going to be your matchup. If he's featured in this game, I better see him covering Chris Thompson and making plays in the backfield. Not, the problem with Michael Kendricks is that he's still athletic enough that, he can get in position to make a play in a backfield where a less athletic linebacker wouldn't even be able to get there. But then it's just he has an arm tackle, and the guy slides right through it. So I'm hoping for big things for Michael Kendricks. 1, because I still have a Michael Kendricks jersey. But 2, that's a big-time matchup that we could potentially negate if everything is good there. Goal number 9 is the running back by committee. How is that going to shape out? Obviously, you have LeGarrette Blount and Darren Sproles. You would figure that is going to be their starting combination. But with how LeGarrette Blount has looked in preseason, I mean, we haven't seen Darren Sproles. Darren Sproles is going to be a receiving back. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But how long is the leash for LeGarrette Blount going to be? Are they going to give him 2-3 drives? And if he just has, 1.1 yard per carry like what he had in the damn preseason, are they going to go to Wendell Smallwood? Does Corey Clement see the field? I do believe that Wendell Smallwood will be the guy that if Blount struggles will come in. But you never know. If this is, a blowout by either side, be it the Eagles or the Redskins, you may still see Corey Clement on the field. And he is kind of a polarizing figure amongst Philadelphia Eagle fans after, he's a local kid and he had a big preseason. But my opinion for how this game's going to play, I think we're going to have an all-right game against the run. There's some pretty good linebackers there in Washington with Zach Brown, Mason Foster. But, they're going to be missing a safety that we're going to talk about a little bit later. So I think it's going to be not a big game running the ball, but I definitely would say I have a gut feeling that Blount is not going to start out, as well as most of us want, and you're going to see a lot more Smallwood than you think you would. Definitely, if you're taking that as a fantasy advice, don't rush out and get Wendell Smallwood yet. Keep an eye on him, but I think it's still going to be like a split carry between Blount and Smallwood, and then you have Darren Sproles mixed in, as he should be. Number 8 is this is a damn revenge game. There's two big revenge matchups that we're going to talk about. Number 1 is Lane Johnson going up against Ryan Kerrigan. And, you know, Ryan Kerrigan did nothing to Lane Johnson. There's no beef there, my look-alike Lane Johnson. But what did happen was when Lane Johnson got suspended for 10 games, I'm pretty sure the game right after that suspension is where we made Hal Vaitai start at right tackle, and Ryan Kerrigan should have been arrested for the abuse, the violence that he caused to Hal Vaitai, knocking him back. Literally one of the worst matchups I've ever seen within the Philadelphia Eagles. Hal Vaitai, luckily enough, bounced back from that, and he actually looks like a pretty serviceable tackle from now on. But now, this is Lane Johnson's game to go, alright, I fucked up last year with the suspension. I fucked up by taking the Mexican supplements. This is a motherfucker that, in my absence, hit my damn QB and made my little understudy here in Hal Vaitai, who's, the little gigantic understudy, look like an absolute bitch. So now this is my time to get revenge. That's something I want to see, and that kind of incorporates, God, the offensive line needs to play good. And the second one is everyone on the damn Eagles versus DeShazer Everett. Because last year, Everett took an absolute fucking cheap shot on Darren Sproles on a punt. I was livid. That was probably the second most angry I got last year after, pretty much the Eagles-Lions game with how bad the refs were. So I think everyone against Everett. Everett will be playing in this game because of no Su'a Cravens, which will be a point we talk about later. I want to see someone get to the second level. It would be best case scenario if, now we have LeGarrette Blount, he's a hammer, but I would love to see a toss to Sproles, and then on the outside, lead blocking is Jason Peters, and that Everett guy's coming up trying to make a tackle. Oh my God, I would honestly pay $200 to just see that. Let Jason Peters get a free run at DeShazer Everett, because I know the Philadelphia Eagles didn't forget what the fuck happened. So that is a, revenge game. Those are two battles I want to see. Number 7 is break the streak, for God's sakes. I'm sick and tired of losing to the Redskins. I'm pretty sure they've won the last 4 or 5 games. They're not that good. They're not a bad team, but they're not good enough to dominate us like that. They dominate us the same way that we dominate the New York Giants. In my opinion, the Redskins are the weakest team in the division on paper. Still really good. Again, don't want to just outright flame the other teams, come off as like an absolute homer. I think if you told me right now the Redskins ended up winning the division, when all said and done, I wouldn't be shocked. But I just think when you look at all the teams right now on paper, it is really close, but I probably would have the Redskins penciled in near the bottom. So let's break this damn streak, and what a better way to do it at FedEx Field, away from home. So that means hopefully we can, sweep the series this year, go 2-0 against the Redskins, and just buck the streak. Number 6, Carson Wentz needs to attack. You have weapons now. Last year we saw, at times, Carson Wentz turned into Alex Smith. You saw the play calling that made Alex Smith famous in Kansas City. Lots of checkdowns with Carson Wentz, failing to utilize his big arm and really like most of his positive attributes. Just throw the ball 35 times. Half those are checkdowns, screen passes, stuff like that. We have weapons now. Torrey Smith looks really damn good. I'm not going to say that he's going to be, back to Baltimore Raven form Torrey Smith, but he's definitely looking better than what he looked like in San Francisco. He's a weapon. You got goddamn Alshon Jeffery. He's a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver. He's a weapon. You got Mac Hollins, who has the nastiest stiff arm in the game. Maybe not target Nelson Aguilar. Maybe you can ease into that one. But as long as you're cautious that Josh Norman is a playmaker, and if you are sloppy, which Wentz can tend to be sometimes, maybe once your arm gets a little tired, maybe after you've thrown the ball 20, 25 times, maybe don't really force it to Josh Norman's side. Maybe move Alshon Jeffery around, because we know Josh Norman doesn't particularly like to travel across field. So maybe you get Alshon moving to separate sides of the field, get him on Brashad Breeland, stuff like that. But use the damn weapons. Use that cannon. Attack, attack, attack. I don't want to see passive play calling with Carson Wentz in this game, because this, you never know when an injury is going to happen. So as soon as we start this game, this is going to be the healthiest Eagles team's going to be all season long. Let's fucking go out. Let's go full torque, and let's see what they can do. Number 5 is the number 1 player on Washington that worries me. You may say, well, Josh Norman's legit. Ryan Kerrigan's a baller. You got Terrell Pryor coming over as a big free agent. Pretty much, almost as much hype among Terrell Pryor as there's Alshon Jeffery. Kirk Cousins, wow, he's getting paid $20+ million. He's in a franchise QB, right? He throws for 5,000 yards a year. Nope. Number 1 player that worries me right now looking at the Redskins is Jamison Crowder, especially the matchup against Patrick Robinson in the slot. If you have a talented slot wide receiver and you're playing the Eagles, this is a fantasy note, and just as an Eagle fan, I'm prepared. If there's a good slot wide receiver, you're going to go off. Jamison Crowder's probably going to have between 6 and 10 catches, 100 yards, maybe a touchdown. Crowder's going to have the biggest game out of all these wide receivers. I have Terrell Pryor in my big money fantasy league, and I'm going to roll with Pryor. I think he'll have a serviceable game. Let's be honest. Our secondary's not that much improved. It's going to be a game of more bend but no break. There's going to be yards there. But I think Jamison Crowder is the #1 weapon on the Redskins I'm personally most worried about. And you may not, I'm bringing it up because a lot of people probably won't associate that. They're going to think Terrell Pryor, you're going to think Kirk Cousins, and you're going to think maybe on the defense, one of their superstars there. But I think it's going to be Jamison Crowder. If not Jamison Crowder, Chris Thompson. Both those guys a little bit under the radar, but they are absolutely based off of the Eagles team last year. New team, new year, new me, all that stuff. Chris Thompson and Jamison Crowder are the two types of players that usually cause the Philadelphia Eagles to have absolute nightmares. So I'm very worried about Jamison Crowder, especially because Patrick Robinson looks like he's going to be the guy that's covering him. Go to number 4 is our secondary. More importantly, obviously, we'll talk about Ron Darby, Malcolm Jenkins, and Jalen Mills. They're going to have to deal with the jump ball ability of Terrell Pryor and Josh Doctson. Those guys are big wide receivers. Pryor's, 6'3", 6'4", Doctson 6'2". Both of them can jump like a damn kangaroo. Kind of rhymes. But Darby's not that big, so that's, he's quick, but not that big. I think he might have, high probability of being exposed to a couple jump balls to Terrell Pryor, so that is where you need to have Malcolm Jenkins double teaming Terrell Pryor and taking that out of the game. I think Jalen Mills and Josh Doctson is going to be a fairly evenly matched battle, but that is definitely the biggest thing that worries me about the Redskins wide receivers. Not the speed, it's not anything, it's just the jump ball ability. Just Cousins throwing it up and these guys coming down with it. So double team with Darby and Jenkins on Terrell Pryor. Go number 3, Alshon Jeffery going up against Josh Norman. Alshon is own Josh Norman. Last year, with Matt Barkley at quarterback while he's playing for the Bears, Alshon had 5 catches, 92 yards versus Josh Norman. It's just a mismatch. Like the same mismatch that Ron Darby is against Terrell Pryor is the same mismatch that Alshon Jeffery is against Josh Norman. And I think that is something we absolutely have to exploit. He's just not tall. Josh Norman is not a great athlete. He's a terrific corner. If he wasn't on the Redskins, I'd probably still be a fan of him. But he can't jump. He's not that, it's not that he can't jump. Obviously, he had that big interception when he's playing with the Panthers. But a jump ball between Alshon, who's probably the best jump ball specialist in football right now, you're not going to be able to compensate that. It's not like we have an average jump ball specialist that's just tall going up against Norman. That there might be a little bit more closer. We have the best jump ball specialist going up against a short corner. What is he, 5'11"? He's not even 6 feet tall. So that is a mismatch you have to take. If Matt Barkley can take it, I fully expect Carson Wentz to be able to get the same kind of results. And, Alshon's raring to go. He was low morale while he was there in Chicago. It was a shitty team, and he still put up that kind of game. Now he wants to perform. He's in a contract year. He wants to get paid. This is his debut performance. I think everything, all the lines and all the stars are aligning for that to be a big-time matchup. Number 2 is there's no Suat Cravens. I think it's going to be a big day for Zach Ertz. I think Zach Ertz is going to probably be our most influential playmaker right now. Good rapport between him and Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz does like to check down to Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz does have, at least in Madden terms, a high spectacular catching balls over the middle. I think with no Suat Cravens, no starting safety, their safeties right now are looking pretty weak. I mean, you got Swearinger, who's much more of a guy, in the box, stop the run type safety. Ertz is going to feast. I think Zach Ertz is going to have a monster game, which we're going to talk about as we wrap up the video. But that's a really big matchup and a big plus for the Philadelphia Eagles. No Suat Cravens, really good safety, linebacker safety, great. He's a great guy to put up against a type of player like Zach Ertz. That's not going to be there. Ertz, I'm going to say a big day for Zach Ertz. And the number 1 thing to keep an eye on is the offensive line needs to look night and day better than what they did in the preseason. Philadelphia Eagles offensive line was shit in the preseason. Was not impressed with anything. Coaches came out and said they're running vanilla schemes and stuff like that. They don't want to show their hand, and I completely understand that. But now this is time. Proof is in the pudding. You traded off a bunch of our offensive line depth for draft picks because you guys were happy with what we had with our starters and whatever backups that we have left. Let's fucking see what these guys have done to make the coaches and the front office feel this way, feel this comfortable with what they are. Let's see them dominate. Redskins have a legit defense. They have a legit front 7. Stop them, run the damn ball. Most importantly, fucking protect Carson Wentz. That's all I want to see. A nice, clean game from the offensive line. Sure, Kerrigan might break through for a sack or 2. They might get a couple run plays stopped. They have good linebackers. But for the most part, you have to be better than what they were in the preseason. What they did in the preseason was absolutely unacceptable, even with vanilla schemes, even with just running vanilla plays. How bad they played was inexcusable for the talent that was there. Lastly, what is my prediction For the score, I'm saying the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Washington Redskins here 28-17, and the game will probably get wide open and go in the Eagles' favor here in the third quarter, because Philadelphia has always been, Chip Kelly, Doug Peterson or not, it feels like Philadelphia is always a second-half team. I don't know why. They just make good halftime adjustments. And my MVP for the game, I'm going with Zach Ertz on the Philadelphia Eagles. He's going to take a big chunk out of that Redskins defense without Sua Cravens being in there. So there you go, guys. That is my predictions preview. 10 things for the Philadelphia Eagles opener against the Washington Redskins. Let me know how hype you are in the comment section below if you're ready for this fucking game. Let's go. This is your first time stopping by. Don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Eagles content all damn year. Thank you guys for watching. And until next time, see you for saying peace out.